What's happened? What's happened, everyone? Part of my presence YouTube channel. I want to discuss what's been happening in the past, I'd say 2 weeks now. There seems to be an all-out front, an attack against black men, especially in media. And I'm pretty sure you guys noticed this as well, too. It seems that whenever a black man is in a position of power, who has a prominent position, whether it be in entertainment, media, or even in podcasting, there seems to be a push, whether it's from the underground underneath and things are bubbling underneath the surface, but it seems to be a push that once a black man has a meteoric rise, once a black man is able to establish himself at a certain level, there's a push to tear him down. And the tearing down seems to be always in public, always for everyone to view, for the viewing pleasure. And there's no shortage of examples when it comes to this. So the many examples that we have just in the 2 weeks, we have Joe Budden, who pretty much met his demise as far as his podcast as it once was with Rory Mal. That seems to be dead in the water. And he's been trying to kind of reinvent his Joe Budden network and the podcast that he's on and trying to bring in his fill-in friends. But then he has to battle off accusations of sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior in the workplace. Now, Joe is the owner of the Joe Budden Network, and he employs various people and talent. And it's one of the talents that has accused him of harassment by the name of Olivia Dope. Now, the never-ending saga, as I said, is going to continue. Whether or not there's any validity in this, clearly there is, because it's on audio and there's a video of all the things that transpired. So there's nothing that Joe could say to defend himself. And actually, on his most recent podcast, he has come out and he has apologized, and he's trying to move forward and move on from this. But apparently, it looks like one of the sponsors that he had, I believe it was Cash App, has kind of removed himself from the situation. I'm not even sure if they still sponsor his show. So clearly there are issues that he has to deal with, and the position that he once held, or the status that he once held, has been dampened. He's on now a lower level, and he has to find his way back. So that's one example. Then we also have an example of T.I. and the situation that he's dealing with. The position that T.I. had, rubbing elbows with politicians. He was, during the U.S. election, rubbing elbows with Joe Biden. Now he's being accused of sexual assault, drugging females, having an open marriage, and his wife, Tiny, being some type of madam and bringing girls so that they can have, sexual relations. So a lot of allegations have been happening with T.I. as well, too. So he's no longer in his position. He's been taken away from movies. He's been taken away from different business ventures. His podcast that he once had expeditiously is no longer airing, and that's been put on a halt or a hold. So we've seen his public fall from grace as well, too. Any favors that he may have had in the spotlight pretty much have now expired, right? But again, this is all within the 2 weeks. But then you also have people like Kwame Brown, who has been attacked for many years as far as being a first-round draft pick number one, being a bust. And he's been the butt of jokes for the longest of times. And what's happened in the past 2 weeks, he's pretty much come out of the woodwork, come out of nowhere. And he has a platform on YouTube. And now he's speaking up for himself and defending himself. Now, right off the bat, I'll say I have respect for Kwame Brown. He's doing the right thing. It's about time that he speaks up for himself. He has the right to do that, especially when he was drafted in the first round, first pick, as a high schooler, right? He's 17 years old, coming into the league under under Michael Jordan's tutelage. And we all know, based on watching that documentary that came out, and that was supposed to be a favorable documentary, But based on that documentary, we know the type of person Michael Jordan is. He is a bully. He is someone that doesn't have much patience. He is someone that doesn't have time for either his players or his teammates to grow. He wants them to be in the best condition physically and mentally, and being having to be optimal players. So he has no time for a 17-year-old to gradually reach his potential. And as a result of that, that was probably the wrong place for a child to foster his abilities, hone his skills, and become a great 7-foot NBA player, draft pick that he was destined to be. And as a result of that, he didn't have the greatest of careers, but he did last for 12 years, I believe. But he didn't really meet people's expectations. And people have been ragging him for a long time. So for him to come out and defend themselves and pretty much expose a lot of people that were saying things, and this is where it gets interesting. Because as I said, in the past 2 weeks, there's been many attacks against black men. And the people who are doing the attacking are other black men. And some black women as well, too. And this is where I'm trying to kind of connect everything into this, because Kwame Brown was attacked by Matt Barnes and Stephen Jackson. Then he was attacked by Gilbert Arenas. Then he was attacked by Jamel Hill. And he spoke up. And then he was attacked by Charlamagne. So you have all these people attack him. And the worst part is that Charlamagne attacked him in a way where he targeted his family. Not even Kwame Brown. He pretty much told a story or made accusations about Kwame Brown's father, who he's estranged from. And he also attacked Kwame Brown's brother, who apparently he is also estranged from. And he pretty much painted this narrative that Kwame Brown comes from a long line of delinquent killers or criminals. And as a result of that, Kwame Brown is probably a loose cannon and a criminal in the making. So we should leave him alone. Now, this is a guy, Charlamagne, who is a guy supposed to be the advocate for mental health, the advocate for anti-bullying, the advocate for a whole bunch of new wave, new Renaissance thinking as far as the liberal idea and how we need to treat people with kid gloves, the LGBT community, and how we're supposed to be, very sympathetic to people who are dealing with mental issues. But here you are, bullying, attacking, and trying to expose someone who you say has a potential or may suffer from a mental health issue, and you're putting his business out there. The hypocrisy of it. And as a result of Charlamagne saying that, Kwame Brown comes back because, again, he has to defend himself, especially when a guy who has a huge platform like the Breakfast Club, he has to come back and he has to set things straight and point out the hypocrisy of all of these people that are attacking him and who they work for, and what messages and images that they put out there for people to consume, and the fact that Charlamagne should be the last one to talk based on his backstory and his whether it's a criminal record or criminal history as far as the sexual assault of a minor. So there's a whole bunch of things that are coming out, and we don't know if this is going to result in Charlamagne being canceled as well too. So I say that to say this. For the past 2 weeks, there's been an ongoing saga, soap opera, gossiping, exposing, calling people out, trivializing mental health issues, trivializing racism, Me Too accusations, cancel culture. A whole bunch of different things have been coming out in the past 2 weeks. But they're all, and again, this is the common denominator, they're all focused on targeting black men. So let that sink in for a bit. What's behind all of this? What's really going on? What is the purpose of all of this? that black men are being attacked, black men who are in prominent positions are being attacked, and they're being attacked by other black men or other black women who are attacking each other. And we look crazy. And one thing that Kwame Brown said that I completely agree with, and I agree with a lot of things that he's saying, but the one thing that I completely agree with is the fact that it seems that we are the ones who are exposing each other, but we don't want to expose white men, white individuals who are doing some of the exact same things or even worse. Bill Gates. There's a lot of stories coming out about Bill Gates, but it's not coming from the people involved. It's coming from reporters. It's not coming from Bill Gates's ex-girlfriend who you're still going on romantic trips with on an annual basis. It's not coming from Bill Gates's employees who, you know, he was asking down on dates even though he was married. So you have all these stories where we are exposing each other, but other counterparts are not doing that. They seem to have no problem protecting each other. Bill Gates was hanging around with Epstein. Nobody knew that. So you have all of these things that are happening. And it seems like whenever a black man rises to a prominent position, you can almost expect, right? You know how they say with every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. It seems like whenever there's a meteoric rise, there has to be a meteoric demise. You have to wonder who's behind these things. You have to wonder who has placed these people in these positions. Why has Charlamagne be able to say the things he says, knowing his history? How did he become the advocate for black women, knowing what he's done to a black woman, a black girl to be exact, a minor, a black minor? So all of these things you have to look at from the outside looking in, it looks crazy. It really does. It looks really crazy. And I don't know what's going to happen next week. I don't know what's going to happen later on. Will these things be resolved? But the question has to be asked. What is this about? And why is it always seem that a black man is never protected? A black man will get teared down. A black man will lose a career. A black man will be pretty much put in a position where he will lose millions. And the scary thing about this is that this should all concern you. This should be an alarm for everybody that's watching this and that's seeing this transpire, because when you attack black men and when there's like a public shaming of black men, especially black men who are presumed to be powerful, hold some weight, have some leverage within media, and you're seeing them taking a public flogging as they are. And these are not just any type of black man, but they're outspoken. They have a large following. They have certain personalities and identities and things that they stand for. And for them to be, or to have a name or reputation that's tarnished in such a public fashion, it makes me wonder, will other black boys, young black men, will they try to aspire to be like a Joe Budden, a Kwame Brown, a T.I., a Charlamagne, a Kevin Samuels? Or will they shy away from going those routes because they just want to go along to get along, as Kwame Brown would say? Are we at a crossroads where we have to determine, okay, what is the path as black men that we need to take? Are these people role models? Or are they just successful individuals with no connection to any of us? They're people that we cannot relate to. Who's to say? But the one thing I see about this, and this is very important, again, your actions place you in the positions that you are in life. There must be some accountability on all of those people that I have in the thumbnail and the images, the people I've mentioned, they all have to hold some type of accountability for their own actions in their own life. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, did my actions, did my way of thinking, did my neglect, did my ego put me in the position where I could be exposed, where I could meet my demise, where I could be taken down, where I could be canceled? What could I have done better to protect my image, to protect my business, to protect my brand? These are the questions that black men coming up into these positions, black men who are looking to rise in corporate America, black men who are looking to build their own brand, their own business, even in your household. You aspire to be leaders in your community. You have to ask these questions. What can I do to protect my brand, to protect my reputation? So you have to move wisely, strategically, understand the climate of today, and move accordingly. And that's really what I wanted to say at this point in time. It's just crazy to see what's going on in the past 2 weeks and how a lot of people are having their reputations tarnished, destroyed, and all the work that they've built, all the equity that they claim to have, all the leverage that they once had, be turned into shit. But again, that's just my observation as to what I'm seeing. Let me know how you feel about this matter. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Until next time, pardon my presence. Peace.